Trying to goal! And what a goal!
What's the bleeding story? How you all doing and all that bollocks? I'll tell you the bollocks that was happening out there today. We were lucky in the end, I suppose. But look, you get out of Selhurst Park with a victory. Any day of the week is a good day, I suppose. But I'm not too overjoyed by the victory. I was like Sky were saying after the game, it's good to get out of there with a result and stuff like that. And yeah, fair enough, it is, but still. It wasn't too comfortable. I want to sort of start off, Manny, straight away into this. The whole starting lineup, I didn't feel comfortable whatsoever with it. What way were you feeling?
There's nothing that needs to be explained. I mean, anyway, I'd even composed a limerick, but I think I forgot about it. But, they say the definition of insanity, Del, is doing the same thing again and again and expecting, good results. Well, we got a good result today, and the only reason why is because we got lucky. I was on a watch along with Tony Claude Gunner TV and Steve McCullough, big up to those guys, by the way, and I was telling them that, for all of Arteta's idiocies and idiosyncrasies, he's going to have us being really good in midfield and attack, and we're always going to go forward. In the first half, we had something like 69% possession to their 31%, so we were literally gazumping them. But what worried me was that because Thomas Partey was cutting in, all they had to do was get in one decent pass or one high ball. I mean, maybe not so much of a high ball. It was sort of a low pass through. They get in behind their defense. Eze and Mitchell and company were having a field day, and yet they just couldn't finish for Toffee. And so Ramsdale didn't really have a difficult game. You throw Mikel Arteta into the sea and the river, and he's going to come out with a trout in his mouth. But he's not going to have his luck last this long against some of the bigger teams. And the worst part is that with a certain Mr. Tomiyasu sent off and with Timber now injured, who's he going to play at left back? It's still not Kieran Tierney. It'll be either Alexander Zinchenko or Jakub Kiwior, both of whom came on to replace Saka and Odegaard. And I will credit Arteta for bringing Zinchenko on because as a midfielder, he goes forward well. He lends a little bit of bite to proceedings. So he was able to help repel more or less the wave of attacks that Crystal Palace were, sending on us near the end. Of course, if Tyreek Mitchell had just controlled his shot and shot better, we would be walking away with 1 point instead of 3. But every single problem that we've had this game has been Arteta's own doing. There are no two ways about it. And I know that a lot of people are going to say, look, we should be proud of the resilience we showed defending with 10 men, coming away with a win. But when the only goal you score is a penalty, despite all the possession that you have, that's not good enough. And I think Luke James has said it perfectly. In as much as we'd like to say that we're still finding our feet, the level is no way good enough. We've got too many average performers. The German blue-eyed boy, although I don't think his eyes are anywhere near that color, was simply not good enough today, and I don't know what the hell he lent. And in as much as a lot of people might like to say, and I was saying at one point that Eddie Nketiah deserves some credit for the way he played and the way he moved and the fact that he won the penalty, you would expect a striker of his, profile to have good movement and to do the needful. But to miss the chances that he missed, one of them off the post, which was okay. The other one, a chip where even now he still doesn't know how to chip a goalkeeper who's coming onto him.
Yeah.
He's another average performer who simply isn't good enough, and yet he got started, and there was no sign of Trossard. A smart man, mind you, Del, would have, brought off. You bring off Gabriel Martinelli, who gives you so much width. Why don't you bring off a central midfielder, and then maybe bring on Trossard, because you know that Crystal Palace are going to look to attack. Why not instead, take advantage of them trying to possibly play a high line and look to go in beyond them? You could have brought on Zinchenko a little bit earlier. The tactics of this guy are completely, arse backwards. And we did get away with it today. And I don't want to hear anyone telling me, just because we've ended the first 2 game weeks with a record of play 2-1-2, we are still going to challenge for the league. Because I'll tell you something, Del. If we persist with these tactics, if this manager continues to utterly, flatter to deceive and completely, prove what a moron he is, we might not even challenge, because other teams are going to look at us and start licking their chops. United got beaten by Spurs, but they did, play really well in that game and were sort of unluckily undone. And Arsenal, since 1987 here, Ben White played well for us at right back. Why doesn't Arteta play him in that position? Does that mean Gabriel will be leaving for the Saudis? He started Partey today because he wanted Partey to cut in and play the inverted right back role so he could cut into the midfield. That meant he had White, Saliba, and Tomiyasu as the people involved. I don't want to go too far because I know that Mr. Walsh is waiting there to completely let rip, and I want to hear him let rip. But all I will say is we are completely in over our heads at this particular point. I'm going to say and end by saying this. There's nothing much more to explain. Arteta is freaking insane. He thinks he's all that, but he's really a prat for doing this BS yet again.
Like I just, when I was looking at the Forest game, first of all, the starting lineup, I was just confused. I didn't get it. I understand he's trying to mix it up and change it. That's fair enough, but you don't change that much, And then when I seen the starting lineup today, I was just going, why are you taking this gamble? It's too much of a gamble. Just go out and try and put a team together, a normal team that we've in the guys in the right position, and go out and beat them. You know what I mean? You play by the gun there. Big up, Kyle. How are you doing, brother? First question for you. How did you feel the starting lineup was for you, even in the Nottingham Forest game and today's game?
Yeah, well, first of all, there, boy, big up to yourself and Manny. And I apologise. I'm actually working. I'm doing a debs there, boy. I'm up in Donaboy Castle Hotel. You might know it there, boy. Up Blanchardstown there.
Yeah.
So I'm parked up here in the bus. I only got to see glimpses of the game, and I was listening in on watch along. So from what I'm gathering up, is what I've always expected anyway, boy. This team is going nowhere fast. Let's get things in perspective here. We have a manager that's absolutely clueless. He's arrogant, and his arrogance is going to let us down. How many more times can we have this to say this? We're like a broken record. It's repeat. He ain't good enough for this club. He ain't taking this club to the next level. I'm not listening about this second, third, and fourth spots anymore. First, we're being told that we're after getting these additions in, that we finish second, and we should be able to go all the way now and challenge Man City to win the Premier League. Man City has the League One already. It's won by Christmas, then why? This club, what kind of lineup is that? The same with the Forest game. Why does he think he's Pep Guardiola or something? Be himself.
Yeah.
It's not going. Listen, that boy. We're after getting away with it tonight. We can't afford to be playing like this game in, game out. Can't be done. We're going to be found wanting. It's lucky that we're playing against clubs that are not just good enough. They're not up to that level. They're not the elite level. If we come up against a top team, they'll absolutely rip us apart. Players are not up to that, but Eddie and Ketia. How many more times do we have to have this discussion? He's no good. I'm being told to keep the faith with him. Havertz, 65 million on a waste of space. Declan Rice, average player, there, boy. And let's get things straight here. Saka. I'm sick listening about Saka being world class. Saka's not world class. He's a very good player. He has the potential. But he ain't there yet. Odegaard scored a penalty. Fair play to him. He stepped up. He did the business. He actually did all right there tonight. But overall, then, boy, not good enough. We got away with this. We got the 3 points. I'm happy with the 3 points. Don't get me wrong. But I'm looking at this team, and We're walking away with 0 again at the end of the season. We're winning nothing. It ain't fucking good enough. And if we win nothing, I want to see change. No excuses. I said it at the start. No excuses this season, that way. I don't want people coming on and making excuses. This and that. That's a shambles tonight. Shambles. But we got away with it. But we won't keep getting away with it.
Like, I want to call out Unique's comment here because it's absolutely spot on. And I was only thinking this through the whole game. And I was getting text messages off mates of mine and stuff like that. And they were on about Havertz. Now, I said at the start of the season, I'm going to give the chap 10 games. And then I'm letting loose. He's into that now. I'm calling 3 games. I'm going to call the Charity Shield because you're playing against Man City. It was a competitive game. I'm not calling it the biggest trophy in the world or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But it was a competitive game. The Nottingham Forest game and tonight's game. That's 3 games in. I'll give him that grace. But I was looking at the game going, Jesus Christ, what is he doing? I'll tell you what he's doing. He's keeping Trossard out of a position that I believe that Trossard would have offered much more than he did tonight. But I'll take it easy on him. He's only coming in, and fair enough. And I'll just read out that Del Boy Manny, Arteta is tinkering with the formation to accommodate Havertz due to his 65 million price tag. Signing him will possibly screw up our season. I cannot disagree with that whatsoever. You know, like I said it earlier on. I think I said it towards the tail end of last season. I says I can see Trossard being the next Kieran Tierney. You know, he's a top-class player. He offers so much to us when we're in that attacking half and stuff like that. He switches over with the likes of Martinelli, with Saka, everything like that. I wanted him up front. I wanted him right up front instead of Eddie. Eddie tried to do a chip today in the 6-yard box over the keeper. Why? Could you not just play it low and just hit it into the goal? Try that. You know, it baffles me why Arteta is taking this gamble, because surely he has been told, mate, you're after spending 200 plus this transfer window. It's time now you produce a trophy, a major trophy, be it the league, be it the Champions League. You know, that's what I'm talking major. You know what I mean? But I don't understand why he's taken such a gamble with his starting 11 and he's like trying to get Kai Havertz into it. If it's not working in one game, okay, give him a rest, let him take a breather, bring in Trossard and show him this is the way we want to play. You know, he's had enough training sessions now. He's had enough games. But look, I won't dive into him too much at this minute. But
Del Boy,
yeah,
I dive in. Not good enough. Lads say that, give him a chance. I've given him a chance. 2 games. What was he doing tonight? Jogging around the place. He hasn't got, as I said that one, and I go back to what I said. He has quality. He's not like he's a good player, don't get me wrong. But he don't have the heart. He don't have the determination. He don't have that winning mentality that we need. Our club has seen too many timid players throughout the history of our club. And the same with this Havertz. He's too timid. We already had an Ozil. This clown is the next Ozil. We can't afford to be carrying passengers. We want to win the league title. If we drew or got bet tonight, Man City were clear of us already. Now, it didn't work out that way, but believe me, in the next 4 or 5 weeks, Man City will have a gap on us. Because we're no fucking good that way. People may wake up. This club is going nowhere.
For me, like we have the Man City, the Man United game coming up. I think it's Fulham next, and then it's Man United. It's just going to be a huge. Like I don't even know what team he's going to play for Fulham. But is he going to still try with this Havertz thing or Thomas Partey at right back, or is he going to go back to his like the way we started last season, Manny? What way do you feel about it?
You know, Kyle mentioned that Havertz could be the new Ozil. For me, Havertz is already the new Willian because it was a similar signing which was made on reasonably big money, maybe not as much as Havertz per se, but certainly quite big. At least when Willian came in, he scored in his first game for us. But afterwards, he completely stunk out the place. And yet Arteta had to accommodate him to prove that the decision was the correct decision. There are going to be some people who will say, give Arteta some credit. He's not so stupid. He will give Havertz a few games, but then drop him. But then here's the thing. Could you really envisage a guy like Havertz on his whopping salary and his fee being dropped? If he wasn't willing to drop Willian despite all of those dreadful games that season, there's no way he'll drop Havertz. Because the reason why I say this quite confidently is because he's shown that he can't change. Tiger never changes his stripes, as we would say. So this is going to completely muck up the system because better players are being left out for him. But forget about Havertz for a minute. The idea that you could play Thomas Partey at right back to effectively have a back three with Ben White, William Saliba, and Takahiro Tomiyasu, who isn't comfortable on the left, let's put it that way, you're asking for trouble. Martinelli and Eddie did miss 2 easy chances. Listen, I know Martinelli did have a pretty poor shot, which went completely wide. He should have definitely done better with that. And I do really have a lot of time for Martinelli because he's the one who works really hard for the team and provides a lot of the attacking impetus. But he also hasn't been able to have a good shot on goal. And I will, agree with Darren there. And the defense is completely stretched. You see what happens when you have the inverted system. Against the bigger teams, if you effectively end up with 3 at the back, the guy in the middle has to effectively cover both areas. And if it's not Gabriel Magalhaes, it's effectively Saliba. And Saliba, I know there's a tweet right now on Twitter which talks about Saliba's stats. And one of our mutual friends has pretty much talked about how he is the best centre-back in the Premier League. 90 minutes played, 80 touches, a 92% pass accuracy, 8 clearances, 1 block, 2 interceptions, 1 tackle, 1 last-man tackle, no times dribbled pass, and 2 aerial duels, monster at the back. But I'll tell you what, these stats don't tell the whole story because there were... our defenders did an excellent job. Well, Paul... I know you're trying to be positive, but we had no choice but to be excellent because when you lose a man and go 10 man down, it's all hands on deck. And so we had to do what we had to do. We never should have gone down to 10 men. And I blame Arteta with his ridiculous tactics, putting Tomiyasu over there. He sold that poor fellow up the river. That guy's a disgrace. I'm sorry to say that. So Saliba, actually, there were occasions when Saliba committed a couple of fouls, which actually... I mean, he conceded a free kick, in fact, in a rather dangerous position, only for Eze to completely balloon that over. And there was also an occasion where he thought he could try and juggle the ball, but ended up getting intercepted. And it might have been Eze again who had a chance to run through on goal, only for Saliba to, spare his own blushes with a good recovery tackle. So some of these small mistakes, mind you, can really cost us big time. Small leaks can sink the biggest ships. And it's just completely disgusting how in these 2 games, Arteta's tactics have seen us deliver 2 very underwhelming performances. I will say, even if you're willing to say it, the first half against Forest was a sign of us at our best, we never should have allowed Forest back into the game. For all our possession in this first half, we should have been, as Darren quite rightly said, up by at least a few, and we couldn't do that. And we ended up, completely ceding some advantage to them and very nearly dropping points again as a result. So what makes some of these Arteta ins and Arteta supporters think that we will even challenge for the league this season, much less go on to win it? Because I'll tell you what, in as much as Chelsea and Manchester United have not had good starts at this season, they're going to take a look at us and be licking their chops at the prospect of playing us. As long as Chelsea doesn't play Carlo Mudrak, of course, I think they're going to be fine. Boy, did we dodge that bullet. But again, it's Arteta's hubris and his horrible tactics, which really will, be the death of our campaign this season. And bear in mind, we've got the Champions League to play. Does he dare play the same players against the big hitting teams that we'll be having in our group? And there is a part of me that does hold out hope that Tierney and Trossard, with their international pedigree, are being saved for the Champions League, where their skills will be more appreciated and more in demand. And yet, It's the hope that kills you. And we've seen that time and time and time again.
Just want to hit on Scott's comment there, Kyle. Is it time to buy a new dog?
Yeah, that what? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That why there's a few dogs playing at the team at the moment anyway. So I don't know that why people say I'm very negative, and I as I said to you there on social media there's a few people after deleting me off Facebook and all that kind of stuff because of my stance on what I want from my club. And I just feel it's very sad that the expectations of this once great club is so low now with the fan base. It seems to be just, top 4 seems to be okay now, but it never will be for me. I want number 1, and I'm sorry to say that, boy, but this team, this current squad, is nowhere near getting number 1 this season. Nowhere near. We couldn't do it last season. We're playing 1 game a week. Look at all the competitive games we're going to be playing in this season. And by the way, we're talking about the transfer window. Well, unfortunately, poor old Timber is out, looks like, for the season. Havertz is there, but he might as well be on the injury bed as well because the man is useless. So really what we got was goalkeeper and Declan Rice in midfield. So have we really straightened the squad since last season? Not really. So not to get too excited about that. Why? Just another season of mediocrity and fans delusional and accepting this bullshit and accepting this manager and this crop of very overhyped players. That why I'm going to say it straight up. I'm fucking sick of it all. People hide, I go and hide. I say what I feel. And I feel that there's a lot of players at our club that are overhyped and made out to be superstars, and they're very far from us. And I'm going to mention names. Odegaard, he's no captain. Average player. Declan Rice, overblown because he's English. You have Saka, the same. Overhyped. Good players, that boy. But I want players that's going to bring home league titles. And none of them are going to bring home a league title. None of them. And the reason why? Not good enough.
Static, good evening, mate. How are you? Hope you're doing well. What do you make of all this? Was it a tough game? Arteta's picking the team at the start. Did you agree with it, first of all?
First of all, boys, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Big up, Static.
Cool. Hey, guys. Oh, my God, that lineup was really not good to see. I mean, come on. You can't play Partey at right back. But, boys, this is all to accommodate Kai Havertz. I mean, let's not hurt his feelings, so let's just start him every week. No, we don't want to upset him. It's just a mess. It's an absolute mess. It's a total car crash, our lineup. Look, I understand, and fair enough, but yeah, I'm not happy with that. It's just Arteta's just too afraid to make the big call, boys, when it comes to picking the strongest team. Once again, no Trossard. It's not starting. He comes off the bench. He gets us he contributes in us winning the Community Shield. What's he get? 2 straight games of not starting. Okay. Tierney, nowhere to be seen. Gabriel on the bench, and then yeah. But boys, we got away with it big time. I don't know how Palace didn't get a draw in that game. And I've seen a few people said a few comments to me. There was one person who said, no, we were okay. We were okay. Yeah, maybe we were. Defensively, yeah, I can agree with you about that. But offensively, we were so bad. Like, really bad. Nketiah, look, that chip, I'm sorry. Why did he chip that in the first half? You got to bury it, bro. You've got to bury that chance. Listen, credit to Martinelli for winning the penalty. Odegaard, that was a nice penalty. And look, Arteta, for once, he actually listened to what I said. I called out for weeks. He has to make changes with the penalty takers. He's got to let Odegaard take the penalties, because I'd say since the start of the year, I've never seen Odegaard miss a penalty. So, yeah, fair play to Arteta for giving Odegaard the chance to take the penalty, and he buried it. It was a good penalty as well.
Yeah,
But,
no, he did take it well, and in fairness to him, like, you know,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, finally, look, boys, we got away with it big time. And can I just say, and before anyone starts crying, I'm sorry, but the celebrations at the end of the game was a little bit over the top.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Especially, yeah.
This is the reason. This is why football is the way it is. Celebrate. You want to celebrate? Celebrate in fucking May when we lift up the Premier League title or the Champions League.
Exactly.
Don't be celebrating beating Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
Absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
It's a bit embarrassing. Like, I don't want to be negative, and I didn't come on here to be negative. Look, we got the win and everything like that.
Same.
I get that, but you're just putting. I'm looking for a word here. You're putting pressure on yourself as a team when you're celebrating like that. Because if I'm another man, if I'm Fulham manager, I'm just taking a clip of that. Look at these clowns celebrating a win over Crystal Palace away, and they won 1-0 with a penalty. You know what I mean? And they're celebrating as if they won the league.
Can I say, Del?
You don't let them do that to us, guys. You know what I mean?
Del, the only player I can applaud who actually didn't look like he was celebrating was Odegaard. When he came off and he went to his teammates and he was like just, embracing everyone, he was the only one who did not celebrate that win. He was like, "Whoa, we got away with that."
Yeah.
So credit to him. Credit to him for that. I was like, he's the only player who was like, yeah.
I just want to, like, I was watching the game with Zach, obviously, my young fella, and he was there, like, who is your top player at Arsenal at the minute? And for me, it just came out of my mouth straight away, Saliba straight away. He is a fucking serious baller, guys. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be world class in a year or two. Like, if he's not up there already, like, you know what I mean? Now, I know, Kyle, you might disagree with me on that, but he got to 1 or 2 tackles today. The one in the first half, I forget who it was, he was straight through and he just jumped at it and he just got the touch on it. But it was just world-class defending. He's fast, he's quick, he's strong.
Yeah, Saliba is a good addition, good player. He has the potential to be world-class as well as Saka. At the moment, he's very, very good. Straightens up that defence there, boy. We saw what happened when he got injured last season. The same fucking thing will happen this season if he gets injured. He is a very important player in the squad, and I want him faced. But like I said, there's so many more players around him there, boys. They're just not up to it, man. Not up to it. I don't want to be negative. We got 3 points tonight. You know, we're winning games ugly, and you have to win games ugly to win Premier League titles. But this team, you have to be real. We just don't have what it takes to win the league title. It's as simple as that. And I'm here to win the league title.
Can I just say, boys?
Exactly.
Sorry, go, Carl. I agree. Sorry, boys. I just want to say quickly. Listen, look, I'm happy with the win. Yes, we did well done, Arsenal, but the performances have to be better if we want to win the league this season. Anyway, go, Manny. Manny, it's your turn.
Exactly. And I want to sort of piggyback off 2 people. What Kyle said, sometimes you have to win ugly to win the league. And, Darren just said that Saliba did make an initial mistake, in fairness, I think. Saliba didn't exactly have a perfect game. And I told you some of these little things can, sink big ships. 2 points I'm going to say about the winning ugly thing. When we won the league in 1991, we did have our share of ugly wins, as I'm sure both you and Kyle and maybe Static, I don't know if you were around to celebrate that win then, but maybe you'll remember if you do. The proportion
I do.
Good... the proportion of good wins that were good were the number of wins were far greater than the ugly wins. You really only need to win ugly when the situation demands that you win ugly. Otherwise, you don't just want to try and effectively BS your way through the whole thing. We have a saying: BS could get you to the top. It's not going to keep you there. You've got to show that you are worthy of being at the top by actually producing some good performances. And if circumstances dictate that you can't produce those performances, if you have to win ugly, then so be it. And yes, we won ugly today, but we shouldn't have won ugly. The reason why Saliba was so overstretched and made those few what could have been crucial mistakes he made, the reason why Tomiyasu looked like a fish out of water in that position and ended up getting himself sent off. I know Paul Robinson did say that the second yellow card was a very was a dreadful decision and that Tommy might have been hard done by, but Tommy did not look at his best today. And the reason why, the only defender who can possibly say he had a good game, ironically, was Ben White, and yet we never even wanted him to be in the center at all. So the reason why we've had these defensive struggles is because of the lineup that was put out today. And so at the end of the day, the manager has to carry the can because he selects the 20, it's his lineups, and he's the one who has to take some blame. I realize I might be speaking, in the tone of having lost when in any way we've won, but let's take a look at the teams. Nottingham Forest are dire this season. They survived relegation quite well and they beat us at the City Ground in the process, but I don't see them really doing any great things this season. They will be lucky if they avoid relegation. Crystal Palace have lost Wilfried Zaha. They are not going to be full strength. And, we can't just celebrate wins against these teams and say, we're winning ugly, we're going to win. Because, City had a tough win against Newcastle if the scoreline is anything to go by, although actually they did play a lot better than that. And they also beat Burnley well enough 3-0, and they were efficient enough. That same Newcastle team, of course, pasted Aston Villa 5-1. And take a look at how the Seagulls are flying. They cruised in their first game, albeit against the Luton side, which are tipped to finish dead last. And, of course, they beat a Wolves team, which also predicted a struggle. But they've scored their goals. And they are also going to come climbing down. But how dare we, in our arrogance, take a look at these ugly wins and say, if we've been able to win this way, we can go on and win. We never should have been put into a position where we had to win ugly against Crystal Palace in the first place. Last season, we beat them 2-0 at Selhurst Park. We shouldn't have had to struggle here. And certainly not with Zaha no longer a part of that team. So the reason why some of us are a little bit might come across as negative is that we have to sort of, try and put things into perspective and be a little bit realist and say, we have to take a look at ourselves. But is this hubris from these Arteta supporters that will really cost us when it comes to going further? And that's really one of the reasons why whenever people try to criticize us as being negative and try and call you out or call me out or whoever it is, I say, look at this performance today. And I dare you to come and say, you know what? Maybe you lads have a point. Because you can't keep winning ugly all the time. You can't force yourself into a position where you have to win ugly all the live long time. It just doesn't work that way. You've got to have style and substance in at least equal measure. And we don't have that. And all because we have to accommodate a signing who didn't even deserve to play the full 90 minutes today. Why the hell wasn't he brought off for crying out loud? A smart manager would have taken off Havertz and brought on Trossard to try and lend a little bit of dynamism into the attack. And it could have been the best time to do it because Crystal Palace were looking to attack, but they could have left themselves defensively open. Why not bring on Trossard, who could go into those spaces and maybe get that second goal, which would give us a little bit more credit? But no, he takes off Gabriel Martinelli, who was causing problems down the left wing, to bring on Gabriel Magalhaes. And then he brings on Zinchenko, who can add a bit of bite to the midfield and attack far too late alongside Kivior. And so, as I've said, we have a crisis at left back, but believe me, it's not going to be Kieran Tierney who'll be playing now. It'll be either Zinchenko or Kivior. Lord have mercy. And that is another reason why I am sick and tired of people who try to gas up this team so early in the season. Yes, it's just two game weeks, and there's still many a slip between the cup and the lip, as I say. But, we have to pull our socks up. We have to demand better of ourselves as fans. We have to demand better of our players. Our players have to demand better of ourselves. But most of all, our manager has to demand better of himself and not just his players. This man, quite simply, is one of the most arrogant managers I've ever seen, and he hasn't done anywhere near enough to warrant that type of arrogance. And that arrogance is also starting to filter down to a few of the players, and it is a horrible sight to see. And if Warren were here on this chat right now, on this stream right now, he would agree with everything I'm saying.
Like even like for me, just even sort of going over the thinking of the whole Gabriel Magalhaes thing, and he's not starting him with Saliba because him and Saliba worked last season. Why are you changing that? Like you know, something if you want to change something, it's up front. I can understand swapping, let's say, wings or swapping, like with your players, but you don't mess around at the back with something that's working. Okay, we knew today that Zinchenko may be not as fit as to start the game, and that's probably why he didn't start the game. But why the hell was Tomiyasu over on the left hand side? He should have been over on the right hand side. And then if you're going to play someone on that left hand side, you're playing Kiora. You know what I mean? Because he's a left-sided, he's probably going to be that backup to Zinchenko as well. Like, you know what I mean? It was just such a gamble for something that shouldn't have been. You know what I mean? Arsenal should have had enough to actually take the game to Palace and go on and win. We should have probably beaten them about 2 or 3-0. Let's be honest about it. You know what I mean? Our backline did do okay today. They done their job. But that thing, even Darren even said the comment there, Saliba got caught out for one of the challenges. But in his defence, he had to get used to Ben White there beside him, like, you know what I mean, in that sort of central role, where, give the guy a chance, you know what I mean? It's just too much of a gamble at this stage of the season with the Forest game and this. And Arteta did say he wants to freshen it up and keep the players fresh and rotate and stuff like that. Well, I can guarantee you, there'll be one player come the end of May will be absolutely exhausted, and it's going to be Saka, because he will not drop him. He'll keep on playing him. You know what I mean? If you're trying to, worry about freshening up a team right now, we still have Champions League games to come. We'd be playing twice a week for so long. You know what I mean? But it's frustrating for me. It's static. My question to you basically is, can you see us lining up against Man United with a sort of a makeshift back four or whatever you think, or is he going to sort of try and trick Ten Hag and say, oh, we don't know what defence Arsenal are going to have this game? Do you think he'll change it back and go with sort of Gabriel, Saliba, Zinchenko, or whoever it is on the left, and then Ben White on the right? It's hard.
One word, no. I don't see any inkling. I just don't see any way he's actually going to make any changes. Like he's going to play the strongest team all of a sudden. I can't see it, boys. I just can't see it. I don't know what else you want me to say.
Yeah. It's it's just he's taken too much of a gamble here. You know what I mean? Just keep it fucking simple. He's trying to overthink the tactics here. But your back line last year was working with Saliba and Gabriel there. Ben White was doing okay on the right. Timber's not going to be available.
Sorry, Dale. I was just going to say, unless he drops Kai Havertz, I can't see he's going to change the lineup and make it play our strongest and make changes against Man United. I can't see it, boys.
I'm no disrespect to Fulham, and I'm just sort of skipping to the United game here or whatever. But
yeah.
For me, it's like United will not fear Arsenal, I don't think, when we come to play them, especially with that sort of strike, the strike force there. And I'm just looking at the comments here. Arsenal badly need a goal scorer. Akers has said that, and I 100% agree with that. You know what I mean? I got a load of text messages today off people. Geez, these are missing something up front. We're waiting on Jesus to come back. He's not that answer for me either. He's not going to get us them goals that we need to win a league title. Can you see Arsenal going into the transfer window to try and get a striker between now and the next week or two or whatever it is? I can't see it.
No. Delboy, I can't see us signing a striker. You might remember you asked me this question about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, maybe even 2 months ago. I said to you, I guarantee at the end of this transfer window, we won't sign a striker. Kai Havertz will be playing as a centre forward. I did say that.
And you're right. Oh. He was playing that centre role when Eddie went off and we went down to the 10 men. He was actually pushed up front. Why? You know what I mean?
And I'm sorry. And to anyone that's defending Kai Havertz, I'm sorry. Once again, he was awful. He was awful tonight. Absolutely awful. I was watching him literally for 20 minutes straight, just walking, jogging, going around in circles, literally doing what Nketiah was doing before he went off. I understand. Yeah, he's not a central midfielder, but he's not a centre forward as well. It's just he's a passenger in our team, and he's literally sinking the ship that is Arsenal right now. He's an anchor. He's a massive anchor in the team, boys. It's like Ozil, although to be fair, at least Ozil more or less gave 100%, and he actually would run a little bit more.
Yeah,
I'm being kind, but look, with
out...
Havertz, I'm sorry, just
Just going to read out Unique's question here.
Go on.
Question to the panel: at any football club have the power to? Sorry, I'll start that again. Do players at any football club have the power to question the manager's tactics? Not in an undermining way, but in a way to let the manager know where it is going wrong.
Yeah, the captain. The captain has to ask questions.
Either the captain, or at least if a number of senior players come up in a body and say, "Look, Gaffer, things aren't working," then you can do that. Because I'll tell you what, if you remember what Graham Souness would say, I don't recollect if he said that in that interview with Eamon Dunphy. He said that some of the best teams had players questioning the manager for their tactics all the time, and especially if they were going on a terrible run of games where things weren't quite working for them. Because the senior players also were going to be... I'm not convinced with the idea of Ivan Toney unless we can get him in January, and if we can, like we did Trossard, good for him. But coming back to the question, some of the senior players in that team are going to have to grow some backbone. But the problem is, apart from Odegaard, with Xhaka having gone, who exactly can we call on as leaders of that team? Gabriel Magalhaes? He's now frozen out of the picture. Thomas Partey, who'd normally be vice captain, we might be selling him. So we've got a bunch of youngsters, some newcomers. Where exactly is the leadership in that team? Who among this group of players? And no, wait a minute. We've got Zinchenko, the guy who leads the team talks. What was I thinking? The problem is, some of these players seem to be all in with Arteta on this whole thing. It's all good vibes and whatnot. And, even Odegaard is not the type of person who can lead a team talk. He can't even lead, a group of ants to a picnic, as far as I'm concerned, with his talks. But he does do some decent work as a player, although it should be a lot better at times. He does tend to ghost a little bit. Jorginho could be the one. An interesting shout, Scotty, but let me say this. Given the fact that Jorginho also came in, he only came in January, I think, along with Trossard. He also doesn't quite necessarily have that much in terms of club experience to speak to Arteta, although his pedigree would, in theory, suggest that he has some ability to talk about stuff like this. I mean, we've seen, how much of a big figure he is with the Italian national team. You'd think that he, the likes of Zinchenko, the likes of Odegaard, and maybe one or two others, would come together and say, look, things aren't working and we need to have a talk about this. The problem is, will Arteta be willing to listen? Does Arteta have the willingness to change his attitude and say, you know what, maybe things aren't working as well as they are. I need to take a look at myself. And yet we've seen that he doesn't have that ability. He doesn't have that humility. He's as arrogant as the day is long. And that arrogance nearly cost us against Forest. That arrogance nearly cost us against Crystal Palace. Shout out to our dear friend Diesel, who would say exactly the same thing. And I have no doubt that that's going to be the title of his next podcast. I think players should, if they have that ability, come together and say, look, we care about this team. We'd like to see a change. And yet, because we've lost Xhaka and we don't have too many senior figures apart from maybe Zinchenko in the team who can really speak up, and some of those senior players aren't even really in the first team picture as of yet, we've got a bit of a vacuum. So that is the big problem we have. We don't seem to have enough players who are willing to take that sort of an initiative. And I think Kyle will even tell you that even when things were going wrong, the likes of Tony Adams, that team in the 90s and coming into the 2000s had leaders all over the pitch who would also be willing to talk to the manager respectfully and raise a voice if things went wrong. We don't have that today. And we yearn for the good old days. And Kyle, I want to bring you in. You've been silent. Do you agree with everything I've said?
Absolutely, Manny. I was just going to say this. I was going to say that collaborate on that, Manny. What I'm looking at now, there, boy, is we're all hearing this chat here tonight. And what I'm listening to is who's playing left back, who's playing right back, who's playing centre back. So in the back line, we have problems. Then we're talking about midfield, Declan Rice, Havertz, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about Saka not being 100% fit. We're talking about up forward, Eddie and Nketiah, not good enough. We're waiting for Jesus to come back. He's not good enough. So I'm listening to a lot of problems here. And we're 2 games in. In 1989, we witnessed Arsenal Football Club win the league title. We could pick that team. 1991, league title. We could pick that team. They all started in 1998, 2002, 2004. They all slipped in. You're talking about leadership. There's not one leader at Arsenal Football Club. Not one. Dennis Bergkamp came to Arsenal through Bruce Rioch. And he was absolutely shambolic when he came to Arsenal. Never kicked the ball.
Yep.
Tony Adams went into the dressing room, grabbed him by his throat, threw him against a few lockers, and said to him, "You're here to play for Arsenal Football Club. Are you going to play or are you not going to play?" Dennis Bergkamp went out the week after, and he became, in my eyes, the greatest Arsenal player ever to wear the jersey. That's captaincy. That's leadership. Tony Adams would go into that dressing room to George Graham, and he would sit down with George Graham and tell him how it is. Tony Adams would walk into that office to Arsene Wenger, tell him what it is. And I'm goddamn sure if Tony Adams was playing today, he'd go in and do the same with Arteta. But no, it's all too nicey nice at Arsenal. And I'm sick and tired of it. No leadership, no captains. Players don't know if they're playing or not. It's a shambles what's going on. We don't know our best 11. And we're going into the third game of the season. You're talking about Man United. I'm going to that game. I'm going to that Man United game. And if Warren is watching, I told Warren I'm going to call down to see Warren after the game. And here we are going into that game. Man United won't be afraid of us, that's. They'd be laughing. And they're broken. But they could easily beat Arsenal in 2 weeks' time. So that's the facts, that's. You can cover it up whatever way you want. We have no goal score. We needed a penalty to beat Crystal Palace tonight. Just not fucking good enough. I should be. What do you want me to do, there, boy? What does the live chat want me to do? What does the Arsenal fan base want me to do? Do they want me to go around celebrating like those assholes tonight after the game? Like we're after winning something? Remember I was celebrating then, boy, a couple of years ago when we were nearly in the Champions League and we were celebrating after each game. And what did we win? What did we achieve? We achieved fucking nothing.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to achieve come the end of May? This May. We'll all be celebrating. Achieve nothing again. So fuck them.
And on that note, I gotta just shout out you boys. Manny, I'll start with you. Shout out what you have coming up and your channel and stuff like that, or your channels that you're involved with.
Yeah, well, first of all, Dale, as always, it's a pleasure to be on your channel. Pleasure to be working with you, as always. As I say, regardless of whether I am on YouTube, you're always my first, my last, my everything, and you have that place in my heart. It will never change. Here's where people can find me, first and foremost. Also, you can catch me on Oris Talks Football and Coach's Corner with Hanno Trollope, where I am co-hosts there as well. We do some terrific content, a few watch-alongs for different sports as well, and a win is a win.
More.
It
needs to be more. More.
It needs to be more. Also, some other channels. I was on a watch-along tonight with Tony Claude Gunner TV. Big up to him. and Steve McCarlin and everyone else. Big up to Danny AFC TV. I was on the watch along with him for the Arsenal Forest game. We could be doing a Champions League watch along soon. Huge shout out to Up the Cherries in all departments, a Bournemouth fan channel. We do some work on cherry picking, and we will be, of course, active with some new shows coming up this season as well. I come on there as more of a neutral and someone who is happy to say what I like to say. And also AFC Talk Show TV, Villa TV, a few others, which I can't really name at present. And I am still trying to get the S. Featley channel up and running, but yeah, having a few issues, but that will be up and running soon enough. That's my hope. God rest his soul. And I hope at least for this season we can try and do him proud, but it doesn't really look likely. And that's it. This is where you can find me on YouTube. Shout out to you, Del, as always. Shout out to Mr. Walsh and Static. Always good to share company with you two gentlemen. And although this stream has been short, it's been quite good. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your week. Big up to everyone in the chat. You're the ones who've made this video what it's been. And Unique as well. I want to thank you for your questions. I want to single you out. Those questions were really, really good. Certainly nothing unique about your questions, but you've been a unique person to have in the chat tonight. Take care of yourselves. As I've said, don't do anything that the four of us wouldn't do. For now, though, like Del, I need to sleep. Cheers, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Kyle, do you want to shout out your channel, mate?
Yeah, you'll find me on Kyle Watch Gunner on YouTube. I put up a video there about a week ago or so. And I'd just like to say I'm putting up another video tomorrow now, match reaction. And then why I'm going to be on to yourself there during the week because I want to do a live show once a week, midweek. And that's a Wednesday because I understand that yourself, and I'm never going to take anything from anyone. Yourself and Jays and TJ Warren and Warren himself, the legend himself, Warren himself. All you guys does your own thing and I'm part of that and I'm number one for all that. But when people are not as busy on YouTube, I like to put a little show out there. If it's only an hour long, invite you legends on, have a chat, bit of an eruption coming out of me, all the negative stuff. I like to get all the positive vibes back from you all. So I'll be on to you, Del Boy, to show me how to set up a live show, man, this week because I want to do it. And I hope all you legends will join and see what happens. Well, big up to you, Del Boy. Big up to you, Manny. And Static, the legend himself. Big up to you.
Fair play. Cheers, Kyle. Thanks a million. Yeah, no bother. Just gives a shout and we'll sort that out. Like, no problem whatsoever. Static, do you want to call out your socials or anything like that, mate?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, which is static__5. You can also find me anywhere within the Arsenal community, especially Del Boy's lovely channel. And can I just say, Arsenal, listen, there's still a lot of work to do, but come on, we should be ready before the first game of the season. Yes, a win is a win. We did win ugly, and I'm all for that. But like I said, if we're going to win the league title this season, which there's a few people in live chat, they should know this. We're expected to win the league title this season with the money we spent. Performances have to be better. There's no excuses. So look, I'll enjoy the win, but it's unconvincing, and we have got to improve. We need a striker badly, but like I said, boys, it's not looking good at the moment. Time's running out, and we still can't get rid of players at the moment. So time's running out for Arsenal.
Yeah. They need to pick up the phone to Del Boy. I'll tell you, I'll shift a few players, no problem, and we'll be making top dollar as well for it.
Del Boy, you get your black van ready, and I'll give you the extra petrol you need.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no problem at all. No, I'm going to do another fan cam call in after the Fulham game on Saturday. I think it's 3:00, isn't it? And sorry, there was a few people as well looking for the link tonight. I just wanted to do a short show because I'm up early tomorrow morning myself. So if I had loads of people on, I would have dragged on. I would have believed me wrecked tomorrow. But I appreciate the guys for coming on. Really do appreciate all your support and everyone in the chat as well. And there's a few new faces there as well. And there's someone there from the Rebel County, Cork. Big up, Cork Gunner. Thanks a million for dropping by. Please do hit the old like and subscribe if you don't mind. But yeah, look, the game. Look, we got the points. like, you know, at the end of the day, it was a bit confusing. It was a bit frustrating, you know, but we rock on. We're skating on thin ice at the minute. You know what I mean? It's just pick the fucking normal team and just get out there and run amok and push on and let's do this. You know what I mean? But
Delroy, football's a simple game. Keep it simple.
This is it.
We have to keep it simple.
Yeah, and big up from Leitrim, me neighbour. I'm from Roscommon originally. Dublin accent, moved up here years ago. But yeah, big up to Leitrim, lovely part of the planet. You know, but yeah, after the Fulham game, please do drop by. I'll be straight after. I'll be on here. We'll get loads of people on. We'll have a chat. We'll have a good old banter. Del Boy will be flying a few beers and the sherry's ready. So all good. So please do hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. We appreciate that. Everyone in the chat, big up to everyone, and thanks to the guys as well on the panel. Look, Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0, down to 10 men. We win, we take the win, and let's leave it at that.